This regular meeting of the Judson Board of Trustees is hereby called to order at 5:30 p.m. I am very pleased that you have taken the time to join us this evening. As the Judson Board of Trustees, we are here to set goals and policies and oversee the management of the district. We are responsible for approving budgets, contracts, personnel appointments, and to listen to reports from the superintendent. We are not here to make administrative or management decisions pertaining to the daily operations of the district. This is the responsibility of the superintendent. In compliance with State Government Code on Open Meetings, tonight's agenda has been appropriately posted. This is a meeting in public, not a meeting of the public. As our guest, you are welcome to observe and listen. These proceedings are being video and audio recorded and will become part of Judson's permanent legal record. And if you have family at home that are watching for the recognitions, we are having a technical glitch with YouTube right now, so we will not be live streaming tonight. It will be taped, and then we will be able to upload that to the YouTube, so you can go back and watch your recognitions and send it off to family. In order that the tape adequately reflects these proceedings, please silence your mobile devices and refrain from talking while others are speaking. Since it is legally mandated that these proceedings are recorded accurately, I may have to ask for order periodically should I notice disruptions are interfering with our recording capabilities. Once again, I extend to each of you a sincere welcome from the entire school board. Thank you for your interest in Judson ISD. We have established a quorum, and I will call roll. I think I'll call roll. I'm going to wait on Mr. Russ, and then I'll call. All right, you can mark your attendance. Okay, we have 4 members present, and we have 3 who are looking for parking somewhere on the street and will be in and joining us shortly. So, but this is a good problem to have when we have so many recognitions this evening. Okay, all right. So first up on our agenda will be the invocation and Pledge of Allegiance. And tonight we have a special student who's going to lead us in our invocation, Miss Abigail, who is part of our Wagner Fellowship of Christian Athletes. So if we could all rise.
Heavenly Father, as this school year comes to a close, we thank you for guiding and protecting the district throughout the year. Thank you for every student, teacher, staff member, administrator, parent, and leader who has helped make this community stronger. Lord, we pray for continued safety over our students as they finish the year and enter the summer months or begin the next steps of their life. Keep them protected wherever they go and help them carry the lessons and growth they've gained this year into a bright future ahead. We also lift up our faculty and staff. Thank you for their hard work, patience, and dedication. Renew their strength and bless them for the impact they have made in the lives of students each day. Father, please continue to guide the district and its leaders with wisdom and unity. Let the schools remain places of safety, learning, opportunity, and encouragement for all. Thank you for your faithfulness through every challenge and every success that this year has brought. In your name we pray, amen. Amen.
Please remain standing for the presentation of the United States colors presented by Veterans Memorial High School, JROTC. They're probably trying to make their way up to the front. Here they come again. Representing our colors are the JROTC from Veterans Memorial High School. Carrie, colors. Oh, we're
Present arms.
Our pledge leader this evening is Reina Alanis.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Order, arms. Ready, face. Forward, march. Color guard, hold. Post the colors. Ready, face. Present arms. Order, arms. Forward, march. Forward, march.
You may be seated. A round of applause for Reina. Can I have my board members come join me on the floor? Right here. Reina is a fifth grader from Spring Meadows Elementary. She is the superintendent's shining star for her campus. Reina always has a positive can-do attitude, and she is very artistic, and her artwork is always displayed in the district art show. Reina is an A honor roll student, a big sister, loves to sew, and is an avid reader. She is a great friend to others and is a role model for her peers. Thank you so much for leading us in the pledges, Reina. Today's color guard was commanded by Cadet Major Isabel Sancion. She's carrying the U.S. flag. Right guard for the U.S. flag is Cadet Master Sergeant Jovita Benitez. Texas flag by Cadet Second Lieutenant Nathaniel Rose. Left guard for the Texas flag is Cadet Second Lieutenant Colin Tanner. The faculty instructors for the Patriot Battalion JROTC are Major Larry Garcia and Sergeant First Class Miss Karen Hudson. So we have a full room tonight. We have a lot of amazing students to recognize tonight. We are going to start with the outstanding group of elementary students that have achieved an exceptional growth in mathematics. Based on middle year math assessment scores, 30 out of our second and third grade students have earned a national distinction as National Math Stars, placing them in the top 2% of students nationwide. Of these high-achieving students, 12 are second graders and 18 are third graders, with an impressive 13 students ranking at the top 1% nationally. Students tonight are from Crestview, Olivia Pial, Alma Lucia Balsan Delgado, Decian Martinez. From Escondido, we have Jackson Roast and Charles Gross. From Olympia, we have Midas Garcia, Johnny Ricketts, Sterling Souls, and Mr. Ricketts did remind me on how to spell his name to make sure I got it correctly. And from Hopkins Elementary, we have Vidal Martinez and Marco Valencia. From Millers Point, we have Manu Blount. From Salinas, we have Noah James. Rolling Meadows Elementary, Lyric Pettis Marquez. Louis Langley and Connor McCubbins. From Masters Elementary, we have Ava Harris. From Hartman Elementary, we have Nathaniel Tracy and Skyland Thomas Mitchell and Logan Ramirez. From Spring Meadows, we have Alexandra Ortega Romo. From Paschal Elementary, we have Royce Klemfer. From Woodlake, I have Kaylor Ignacio. From Wortham Oaks, I have Alejandro Campos. Babin Kaja, Mateo Joseph Palma, Kaidos Aguilar, Jackson Combs, Isabella Wen, Leonardo Williams, and Connor Wilson. A round of applause. If I can have all of our math scholars look at Miss Brianna here in the middle with the camera, we're going to do a 1, 2, 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3, cheese. Congratulations, Math Stars. We'll give a little bit for our Math Star fan club to kind of shuffle out here. All right, the next group we have is to recognize students from JSTEM who were selected as finalists in the 2026 San Antonio Smart City Challenge under the leadership of Ms. Angel Watkins Lones. The SA Smart City Challenge invited students across San Antonio to research real-world city issues and propose innovative solutions centered around artificial intelligence, quality of life, and the future of San Antonio. Out of nearly 200 teams, this group earned a place among the top 6 finalists. Recognizing tonight, we have Nestor Cabrera Doroteo, Sarapong Osei Owusu, and Rachel Montian. And their teacher tonight is Miss Watkins Lones. Come on up. Congratulations again. Next up, we recognize students from Karen Wagner High School, DECA, under the direction of Ms. Alderete. DECA prepares emerging leaders and entrepreneurs in marketing, finance, hospitality, and management through classroom instruction and competitive events. Our DECA students tonight that we're recognizing are Kayla Duke, Michaela Garza, Diego Cardenas, Elisa Smith, Arden Suazo, Amberly Cibrian, Rahman Mehari, Rahman Shahazad, and Arman Mahari. Congratulations to these students and Ms. Aladita for representing Karen Wagner High School at the state level.
Go Team Bird!
They did not show. Next up tonight, we have our Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America. They promote leadership, service, and career preparation through family and consumer sciences education. Please help us recognize the following state competitors from Veterans Memorial High School, FCCLA, under the direction of Ms. Laura Rome, Mackenzie and Sade Christie. Congratulations, ladies. Next up, we're proud to recognize Karen Wagner High School Trilobites robotics team under the leadership of Mr. Sergio Tinoco Gutierrez. The team competed in the first in Texas UIL state championship and earned a top 10 finish in the state. The students tonight are Christina Pena, Aiden Sanchez, Eliza Smith, Braden Menchaca, Fabian Ortega Herrera, Haley Hill, Jalen Kaplis, Jedediah Mealy, Dante Baker, Raul Hernandez, Abigail Moro, Miguel Cifuentes, Hayden Unfriend, Edu Cruz, Danielle Ponce, Araya Rilera, Jacob Perales, Jensen Lau, and Yathar Batad. Congratulations.
Go Team Bird!
Yes. Next up, we recognize students from Judson High School, FFA, under the direction of Mr. Jay Trees. FFA develops premier leadership, personal growth, and career success through agricultural education. The following students qualified for state and applied agricultural engineering. We have Gage Hicks, Joshua Garcia, Caleb Montelongo, and Jose Zelaya. And And under the direction of Ms. Lossie, the following students qualified for state in nursery landscape: Apple Chidas, Logan Santos, Danielle Leal, and Addison Goddard. Congratulations, everyone. Next up, we have Skills USA. Skills USA empowers students to become career-ready leaders and skilled professionals. Please recognize Kirby Middle School students under the direction of Ms. O'Shea. In construction tool identification, the following students earned top honors. First place, Dayron Corpus. Second place, Jay Hernandez. And third place, Shaylee Schindler.
He's the only one here from this whole one. So you can just put his name.
Here you go, ready? And big smiles, and 3, 2, 1.
And the following student qualified for state in job exhibit construction. With us tonight, we have Adele Reyes.
We're going to come to the front and shake their hands.
Adele also earned a Superior Blue Ribbon ratings for their project. Congratulations, Adele. Next up, from Karen Wagner High School, we have, under the direction again of Mr. Sergio Gutierrez Tinoco, the following students competed at the state level in mobile robotic technology. Tonight we have with us Maciel Martinez.
Go ready, big smiles, and 3, 2, 1.
Also under the Skills USA category for collision repair, we recognize students from Judson High School under the direction of Ms. Angie Vargas and Ms. Martinez. We have automotive refinishing technology silver medalist and recipient of a 4,000 scholarship to Universal Technical Institute, Joshua Ward. And the following students earned superior ratings in job exhibit collision repair: Joey Ward, Leo Castañeda, Audrey Cruz, Juan Enriquez, Richard Gonzalez, Gabriel Martinez, Jada Mendoza, Emily Perez, Alex Rodriguez, Natalie Rodriguez. Congratulations.
Can you guys just sit down a little bit? Awesome, big smiles, everyone, and 3, 2, 1.
Next tonight, we recognize Judson High School students under the direction of Ms. Perales, recognizing basic health care skills, Amaya Houston, Health Knowledge Bowl, Myra Mendez and Christine Hicarte, Health Knowledge Bowl and Nurse Assisting, Hargan Aluwala, Health Knowledge Bowl and Medical Terminology, Daniela Yera, Medical Assisting, Jordan Martin, and Felicidad Carabcamo. Congratulations to these students and to Ms. Perales.
Awesome, big smiles, and 3, 2, 1.
Next up, also from Judson High School, we have the students under the leadership of Elia Hernandez serving the Skills USA District Officers, Savannah Allen, Jeremy Bell, Ali Gonzalez, and Olga Montoya. We also congratulate Ms. Hernandez for being nominated as one of the 5 Texas Skills USA State Advisors.
Here we go, and 3, 2, 1.
Tonight, we also recognize Skills USA animation, business, and technology competitors. Under the direction of Mr. Asher, Ms. Muse, and Mr. Bailey, these students competed in Skills USA animation, business, and technology. Olivia Pettis for animation short film, Luke Ahart for customer service, Allison Carter, advertising design, Scarlett John, graphic imaging, Drew Garcia, employment application process and technical computer applications. He also qualified for the national competition in Georgia. We have many more. We have Ashton Shurtleff from Related Technical Math and Computer Programming, Fausto Castro, Technical Computer Applications, and from Cybersecurity and IT Quiz Bowl, Jared Campos and John Campos, Troy Alvarenga, Giovanni Lay, and Josiah Ruiz. Congratulations. Next up, I'd like to recognize the Veterans Memorial High School Cosmetology State competitors. These students are under the direction of Miss Alejandra and Miss Ellen Bradley. Recognizing tonight for natural hair design and weaving, we have Nakia Harper-Smith and Amaya Walpole, Cassandra Balderramas for 2D nail art, Bailey Huff for cosmetology. In aesthetics, we have Mary Jane Venegas and Caitlin Ryan. We also proudly recognize the following senior cosmetology students who achieved a 100% pass rate on both the written and practical Texas State cosmetology exams, and they now have earned their cosmetology license.
Big smiles, and 3, 2, 1.
Congratulations, students. Next up, I'd like to recognize the Veterans Memorial High School student, Isabel E. Sencion. Under the instruction of Major Lawrence J. Garcia, retired, Isabel qualified for the Civilian Marksmanship Program, 3-position air rifle national championship after scoring 530 out of the 600 at the Texas CMP match. She will represent Judson ISD at the national competition in Camp Perry, Ohio. Congratulations.
Big smiles, and 3, 2, 1. Got it.
We'd like to recognize our Patriot Pitmasters Barbecue Team. Continued success in the HSBBQ program. The team qualified the third consecutive year for the HSBBQ State Barbecue Cook-Off. The students are Noah Cruz, Drew Garcia, Joshua Ruiz, and Dylan Phillips, with sponsors Sam Lawson and Michael Barkley. Very important to note that these students at the state cook-off placed in the top 28 out of 98 teams in the rib category. Congratulations, everyone. They didn't bring samples for anyone. All right, we have trophies in the hallway. The following armed and unarmed drill team cadets are being recognized for their outstanding achievements during the 2026 competition season, including qualifying for the Army Nationals for the 8th consecutive year and All-Service Nationals for the 6th consecutive year. The armed team placed 12th in Army Nationals and 11th in All-Service Nationals, while the unarmed team placed 9th and 12th. The teams also earned top finishes at the 5th Brigade Championship. Special recognition goes to Javier Rihak, ranked the number 8 soloist in the nation, and Jasmine Ramirez, who placed 6th in the nation for dual competition. From the armed drill team, we have Braden Dominguez, Javier Rihak, Miguel Guzman, Alexavier Barrett, Christian Castro, Aiden Brown, Sebastian Rodriguez, Tashawn Karsten, and Damian Paz. In the unarmed drill, we have Jasmine Ramirez, Imani Parker, Cristina Constante, Olivia Solis, Alejandra Cruz Jara, Isabella Contreras, Alexis Saldana, and Rihanna Constante. Congratulations. Wait, Bree, hold on.
And 3, 2, 1.
Next up, we'd like to recognize the outstanding student athletes from Judson High School and Wagner High School for their accomplishments in track and field at the UIL State Track Meet. From Judson High School in the 200-meter and 400-meter dash, Genesis Cordero with Coach Christina Holland. Triple jump, Luis Gutierrez and Coach Quinton Summers. From Wagner High School, under Coach Jimmy Dyke's leadership, we have 800-meter Shannon Davis, who finished 3rd place in the state, and the 4x200-meter relay, Javonta Hughes, Isaiah Venzor, Jamian O'Brien, Chance Stanley, and the alternate Alexis Tirado. Congratulations to all our athletes and coaches. Another round of applause. Congrats.
There you go, Coach.
And last but not least, we'd like to honor and recognize our top school nurse in San Antonio, who was nominated for the Salute to Nurses Healthcare Heroes. Her nominations highlight the exceptional care our JISD nurse provides every day. Congratulations to Jennifer Guzman from Candlewood Elementary. She is our top nurse in San Antonio. concludes our recognitions. All right, that was a wonderful way to end this school year with all those celebrations. So next on our agenda is the public comment period. This is a time for citizens, staff, or parents, or students to provide their comments to the board. A meeting that is open to the public under the Act is one that the public is entitled to attend. However, the Act does not give the public a right to speak at such public meetings except through proper channels. Before we begin, I will remind our audience members of the board's procedures for handling public comment. Anyone who wanted to speak during the public comment portion of the meeting was required to sign up prior to the start of the meeting. Each public comment speaker will be allowed to speak a maximum of 3 minutes. Yielding of time to other speakers is not permitted. Speakers will need to keep their comments civil and courteous and avoid using profanity. Speakers will not be allowed to discuss students who are not their own. While speakers may criticize any act, omission, policy, procedure, program, or service of the board, personal attacks or complaints about individuals will not be allowed. If you have a specific complaint against an individual, I am required to stop you and direct you to seek resolution through the district grievance process. DGBA for employee complaints, FNG for parent or student complaints, and GF for community complaints. Grievance forms can be obtained at any campus administration office or in the central administration office. And with that, our first public comment speaker is Dr. Claudia Walker.
Good evening. That's a really hard act to follow. Great students. My name is Dr. Claudia Walker. I'm a Texas Education Policy Institute Fellow and an ECSC teacher at Masters Elementary School. My 26-27 contract, Section 5.3, Assignment Reassignment states, you understand that the district has the right to assign or reassign you, transfer you, and to make changes in your responsibilities and duties at any time during this contract. My concern is the concept of being an ECSC teacher with no art facilitator. Whether it is a rumor or it will be factual next year, I am concerned about not having an art facilitator on my particular campus. I am not speaking for everyone. I'm only speaking for myself. Leslie Shapiro, an EDD, she's a learning systems architect and assessment developer. I'm going to quote what she wrote. I think part of the challenge is that many schools have quietly collapsed multiple professional roles into a single position and then normalize that structure as teaching. Independent schools in particular have often operationalized this model quite explicitly, which can significantly narrow the pool of educators for whom those positions are professionally sustainable. In too many environments, teachers are simultaneously expected to be instructors, curriculum designers, advisors, coaches, club leaders, institutional ambassadors, often far beyond the contractual school day. The issue is not simply workload. It is that schools frequently interpret boundaries around particular categories of labor as evidence of insufficient commitment, rather than recognizing that professional contribution in schools is neither singular nor uniform. Institution sustainability depends upon maintaining a diverse faculty ecosystem that includes educators whose primary value lies not in perpetual visibility or extracurricular immersion, but in the design of coherent curriculum, assessment architecture, instructional systems, and long-term programmatic stability. My question is for you. Not my question, my request, please don't get rid of our facilitators. Don't make my life harder. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Walker. Next up is Ms. Bedford.
Good afternoon, everyone. Everybody's like, what is she going to say? There's something that I shared with my staff earlier, and I shared with a couple of our fellow principals, but I want to share it with all of us. So this is, dear principals, APs, teachers, and staff. Change is never easy, especially when it means saying goodbye to people and places that has become part of your heart. As you prepare to move to your new campuses, I want you to know just how deeply you are valued and how much you will be missed at your campus. You have poured your time, your energy, your love, your passion into the school. You have shaped the lives of students, supported one another through challenges, and helped build something truly special that doesn't change just because you change locations. The Orange Frog reminds us that you don't have to be the green to belong. You don't have to fit into the culture. You have the power to shape it. Each of you carries something unique and powerful within you. Your positivity, your belief in students, your resilience, your commitment to excellence. There's also one simple, powerful truth in the story of the Orange Frog. Your attitude affects everyone around you. Every smile you share, every word of encouragement you offer, every moment you choose to have hope over doubt, you change the environment. That is your gift. As you walk into new buildings, meet new teams, and face new challenges, remember this: you are not starting over. You are bringing you. You bring the relationships you know how to build, the joy to create in the classrooms and hallways, the belief that every student can succeed, the courage to stay positive when it's hard. The Orange Frog, the one who lifts everyone up. Be the one who chooses optimism when it would be easier not to. Be the one who reminds others that this work matters. You will always be part of the family. Be proud of you, not just for where you're going, but for who you are. And no matter where you land, you will continue to make a difference that only you can. Recently, when I spoke to another school, they asked me about me and my family. I told, I have 4 kids, I have 4 bonus kids. We're a blended family. We are all a blended family now, with the last name of JISD. There's a lot of changes, but all together, we can do this. Believe in it.
Thank you so much, Ms. Bedford. Sincerely, thank you. Give me a little weepy. All right, Ms. Angela Davila.
So good evening, President Ryan, trustees, and Superintendent Jaklich. I am here, my name is Angela Davila, and I am the parent of a student at Selma Elementary School. I am here tonight to respectfully ask district leadership to reconsider the decision to move Dr. Martinez from Selma Elementary. Over the last 2 years, our children and families have experienced significant change and uncertainty through the Coronado Village Elementary School closure and rezoning. During times like these, strong and consistent leadership matters deeply to students, to parents, to staff. Dr. Martinez has provided that stability for our entire school community. She is an effective principal who understands the needs of students, staff, and families, and just as importantly, she is bilingual, which allows her to communicate directly and meaningfully with many of the Spanish-speaking families at Selma. That connection builds trust, strengthens parent connection and involvement, and helps families feel welcomed and respected. In a diverse community like ours, that kind of leadership is incredibly valuable. I also want to express concern about the lack of transparency surrounding this decision and the way it was communicated to the school community. Many parents and staff members learned of this change via social media with little explanation or opportunity for meaningful dialogue. For a campus that has already experienced significant disruption, the communication surrounding this decision has added confusion, frustration, concern among families, and has even impacted staff morale. As a parent, I understand that leadership decisions are complex. However, when changes directly affect students, families deserve a clear communication, transparency, and the opportunity to feel heard. The manner in which this transition was handled did not reflect the level of partnership and trust that families hope to have with district leadership. At Selma Elementary, relationships matter. Students thrive when they feel safe, supported, and connected to consistent leadership. Teachers benefit from stability, and families benefit from having a principal who knows the community and can communicate effectively across cultures and languages. I respectfully ask you to reconsider your decision to move Dr. Martinez from Selma Elementary. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that was our last public comment, so we will move on to superintendent report. I'll turn that over to you, Dr. J.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. On our principal update tonight, we have two outstanding principals that will be addressing us. Mr. Blas Arce from Wagner High School and Rochelle Diaz at Candlewood Elementary. Mr. Arce?
Good evening, Board, Cabinet, and Dr. Jaklich. My name is Blas Arce III. I have the honor of being the principal at Karen Wagner High School. Before I begin, I'd like to give a special thanks to Mr. Johnny Tejeda and the wonderful staff at Wagner who contributed to what I have to share with you today. I would love to share with you all that is happening at Wagner and tell you who we are, but it would be a lot better if I just showed you. Before the first bell rings, before the lights come on, before the crowds fill the stands. There's something special about this place. Some people see a school. We see family. We see tradition. We see pride. At Karen Wagner High School, being a T-Bird means being part of something bigger than yourself. The Thunderbird Way is not something you can explain with a single moment. It's found in the relationships built inside these halls. It's in every teacher who shows up early, every coach who stays late, every student who chooses to lead. It's the energy you feel walking through our campus. A culture built on heart, resilience, and community. Because here at Wagner, we rise together. This year, our students continued to push boundaries, broke barriers, and created opportunities for their future. From students taking flight in aerospace programs, to athletes building a culture of excellence on and off the court, to musicians earning recognition across the state. The momentum at Wagner continues because our story is still being written. And now, our students will help tell that story themselves. The future is bright. The momentum is real. And this is only the beginning. This is Dove Nation. This is the Thunderbird Way. And we are Wagner. Thank you.
For the record, Mr. Arce is always an overachiever. So for the rest of the principals, we just love hearing your voices. So thank you, Mr. Arce, but please, Ms. Diaz, we can't wait to hear from you.
I do not have a fancy video. All right. Good evening. My name is Rochelle Diaz, and I have the privilege of serving at Candlewood STEM Academy as the campus principal. Our campus vision is to ensure that every Eagle soars to their highest potential. So I'm going to share just how we do that and what makes our campus unique. I'm not talking about doing what every campus is required to do, but the ways we've gone beyond the ordinary to create opportunities that truly impact students and families. I believe what makes our campus special is our willingness to innovate, respond to community needs, and invest in programs that reflect who our students are. We've created opportunities through specialized academic programs, student support systems, partnerships with the community, and extracurricular growth. We have made intentional choices to give students more than a standard educational experience. Our mission at Candlewood STEM Academy is to provide all students with a safe and supportive community, along with real-world, hands-on learning experiences and challenging grade-level tasks that prepare them for rigorous STEM pathways in secondary school and beyond. At Candlewood, that mission is not just something we state. It's something our students experience in every hallway, every classroom, and every partnership that supports our campus. What makes Candlewood truly extraordinary is the way our community comes together to support students in meaningful, authentic ways. One of the strongest examples of this is our partnerships that we have developed with local organizations, businesses, and community groups. Alamo United Methodist Church adopted our teachers at the beginning of the year, providing welcome goodie bags and continuing to support our families through generous gift card donations. Praise Cathedral has been an incredible partner as well, collecting school supplies for our students and helping provide turkey baskets with all the trimmings to more than 50 families in need. Through that partnership, we also connected with Mr. George Allen, who has become a valued part of our campus community. He organizes our horse clinic, now in its third year. where students get hands-on experiences with trail riders and learn about equipment, animal care, and local traditions in a way that brings learning to life. Our STEM identity is also deeply supported by Gardopia Gardens. They help bring ecology and environmental science into our classrooms, especially for our younger students. Because of that partnership, we now have a miniature orchard, 10 raised garden beds, pollinator gardens, and even 3 chickens, Henrietta, Miss Rosie McClucken, and Blue, all of which give students daily opportunities to engage in real-world science. We were also selected by Esler Luxottica and Foundation One Sight for the Birdies for Better Sight initiative. Through that program, more than 60 of our students received follow-up eye exams and were able to choose their very own glasses, all while being on our campus. Another powerful partnership is with Wagner High School through our Soaring to New Heights mentoring program. Wagner athletes from baseball, wrestling, football, and softball mentor our 4th and 5th grade students, building relationships that strengthen both academic motivation and strong future connections with our feeder high school. In addition, we have 15 interns from Wagner's education and training program that come to assist and learn in our classrooms. At Candlewood, STEM learning is intentionally designed to be rigorous, engaging, and hands-on. Through the LASSO grant, we adopted the Amplify curriculum for reading and language arts, which challenges students with high-level, content-rich learning. Examples of modules include kindergarten students reading royal tales of monarchs, first graders reading and studying human body systems, and second graders diving into Greek mythology. But what makes it unique is how we extend that learning into hands-on STEM experiences. For example, after studying Greek mythology, our second graders engineered models of the Parthenon using marshmallows and other materials. After reading royal tales, our kindergarten students celebrated with a royal ball, where they practiced etiquette, ballroom movements, and social skills in a meaningful, memorable way. Learning at Candlewood is not just academic, it is immersive. We also hosted 2 STEM showcases this year, where students engaged in engineering design challenges and presented their solutions to families and staff. These events highlight the creativity, problem-solving, and communication skills our students are building every day. In addition, we celebrated our 2nd annual Earth Day event, which brought together families for picnics, kite flying, performances, garden tours, and opportunities to interact with our campus gardens and animals. Beyond academics, we are intentional about building a connected and well-rounded student experience. Our students participate in a wide range of clubs and organizations, including Eagles in STEM, Art Club, Honor Choir, Journalism, Yearbook, Garden Club, National Elementary Honor Society, Board Game Club, and many others that allow them to explore their interests and talents. Our Fine Arts program has also created something truly special. Under Mr. Posada, our honor choir launched the first elementary traveling road show of its kind, performing at locations such as the Kirby Senior Center, Wagner High School, Kirby STEM Academy, Wood Forest Bank, and Normandy Health Center, sharing music and joy throughout the community. We also take pride in giving back. Each month, we host a food truck on campus to support local small businesses while bringing our school community together. We participate in Child Safe's Cardboard Kids campaign. This year, we had 256 cardboard figures across our campus to raise awareness for child abuse prevention. We also participated in the HEB Plastic Bag Recycling Challenge and collected an incredible 17,493 bags, demonstrating our commitment to environmental responsibility. Our students have had additional unique experiences this year, including a free YMCA Camp Twin Lakes experience for our 5th graders, STEM events with the Austin Spurs, not San Antonio, but the Austin Spurs, visits from the Kiwanis Club members who read and donated books to our youngest learners, and visits from El Rey Feo and his royal court. We also continue to benefit from strong partnerships like Prairie View A&M 4-H Extension and Region 20, which bring live animals and ecology-based learning experiences directly to our students. We are also proud of our recognitions this year. As you all saw tonight, our school nurse was named Best in Class in San Antonio by the San Antonio Express News. 2 of our paraprofessionals received scholarships from the Judson Education Foundation to support their journey toward becoming certified teachers. And in addition, Candlewood was awarded 8 grants supporting innovative instructional and campus-based initiatives from the Judson Education Foundation. And finally, what makes Candlewood STEM Academy truly extraordinary is not any single program or achievement. It is the way all these experiences come together. We're not only focused on academic success, we are focused on developing students who are curious, confident, compassionate, and prepared for the future. Every partnership, every STEM challenge, every garden bed, every performance, every act of service, and every celebration reflects our commitment to ensuring that every eagle soars to their highest potential. We are not just preparing students for the next grade level. We are preparing them to think critically, thrive in rigorous STEM pathways in secondary school and beyond, and to grow into leaders in their community. That is what makes Candlewood extraordinary and not just ordinary. We invite you to come check us out. You may end up taking some fresh eggs or some cucumbers home with you too. Dr. J knows. By the way, we are in mid-registration and we are currently accepting school of choice and out-of-district applicants. So to all of our Judson families, Candlewood STEM Academy wants you. Thank you for your time.
Amazing job, both of you guys. All right, bond, y'all got me distracted. Y'all start talking about kids, and I lose track of what we're working on. That was amazing. So bond and construction report, Dr. J?
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Daniel Brooks.
So everything is moving right along as it relates to our bond and construction projects that are currently happening. I will say that once the students end, or at least the teachers end next Friday, then a whole lot of activity will start happening across the district as we get started on the MEP packages that we brought last month. So a lot of work will be going on next week. But right now, everything is fine.
Go ahead, Dr. J. Yeah.
Madam Chair, members of the board, members of the audience, I just want to take a personal privilege to recognize Daniel. Daniel will be retiring at the end of this year, and he has given us tremendous service. This will be his last regularly scheduled board meeting with us, and so I know it's bittersweet. We wish Daniel all the best, but could we just take a moment to recognize Daniel for his outstanding achievement?
Yeah, Dr. J kind of stole my comments because I just want to say a personal thank you, Dan, because the first time you sat in that chair over there, I was probably pretty rough on you, right? We had a 2016 bond that wasn't finished up. We had a 2017, and then we had just passed the biggest bond in Judson history. And we threw a monumental task at you and your team as a brand-new assistant superintendent, and I don't tell you enough how much you have accomplished. And we threw the challenge out there, and you more than rose to it. And I know our families are so appreciative of every playground, every fence, every new beautiful building, every new marquee and everything. And I know that was a lot of sleepless nights and late nights and working with new teams that you took on to and all of that. So I just, on behalf of the community, the work you have done on these bond projects to get us where we are today, I didn't think we would get this far this fast, and I just want to say thank you on behalf of the community for everything that you did. It was just phenomenal. Okay, any other questions from my colleagues on the bond construction report?
No, I do also have an opportunity to also address you, Mr. Brooks. I've known you the longest as a principal at Woodlake Middle School, and your leadership, and it can't go without being stated, you worked hard to get to where you are and the work that you've done. You know our students, you know our district, and you will be sorely missed. So thank you once again for all of your hard work.
Okay, all right. He is having a retirement party, so we will all share the rest of our comments for that. So, okay, any other questions on any of the projects? All right, intruder detection security audit. Dr. J?
Thank you, ma'am. That'll be handled by Dr. Lacey Gosh.
Madam President, board members, and Dr. Jaklich, we had 2 intruder detection audits this last month, and there were no findings associated with it. And I would also like to report with this that the district has completed all of its required drills, everything for the entire year, and as soon as school is out, the detection audits will pause until school starts back up again. So this will potentially be our last one unless we get an audit next week. So.
Awesome, thank you. It's been a rough couple years on principals and assistant principals and a lot of our people because it is changing all the time, right? The requirements, the new door monitor things, like there are just so many things on top of chasing a kid down the hallway, right? And all the other things you have to do every day. So to everyone who is involved in security, which is pretty much every single person on every single campus, just thanks for making this a priority, because again, with our community and our families, we rely on you to keep our kiddos safe, and so being flexible and making sure that that happens every day, we are really appreciative of that and everything that you guys do. So, and next year, yeah, it was a great year. There were very few findings, so I'm excited that this was a very successful year for the district. So y'all are out there doing what you're supposed to be doing, so we appreciate it. I think if we have any other questions on that, if y'all want to save that till closed session, we do have that on the agenda in case y'all have any additional follow-ups. Otherwise, I'll turn over to you for staffing update, Dr. J.
We'll have a staffing update from Ms. Erica Garza from Human Resources. Erica?
Good evening, Madam President and members of the board. I'm here this evening to provide a brief update on the consolidation of our 4 campuses. Since our last board meeting, we have made significant progress. In the following week, we met with all employees from the affected campuses to discuss their placement and reassignment status for the upcoming school year. These conversations ensured that staff received communication and support during this transition. During the past 2 weeks, we've also met with campus principals to review staffing allocations. This collaboration has been critical to ensuring each campus is appropriately staffed and positioned to meet the best needs of our students. Our human resources team continues to finalize placements and review reassignment requests. At this time, we only have a small number of reassignments remaining. As new vacancies arise, additional opportunities continue to open, allowing us to place staff where it meets the needs of their personal needs as well as the needs of the campus. I really would like to extend our sincere appreciation to the Human Resources team and for their hard work and dedication throughout this process. Their efforts reflect our commitment to taking care of our Judson ISD family. Thank you.
Okay, any questions from my colleagues on staffing? Okay, all right, that wraps up, unless you have something else, Dr. J, it wraps up the superintendent report. All right, we're gonna move on to the consent agenda. I'm gonna give a huge shout out to Ms. Holmes, who got all the minutes done, so I don't have to pull anything on that, so great job. I know we keep having a lot of meetings, and I know that's a lot of work to put that together, so I will not be pulling that. So let me look down to my left. Mr. Macias, anything you're pulling?
No, I won't be pulling anything.
Okay, Ms. Jones?
In?
M as in Mike?
No, in.
N as in okay. November. All right, Jones. Okay, Ms. Lee? None. Ms. Canoyer?
None.
Ms. Stanford?
G and L.
All right, and Mrs. Poteet?
None.
None? Okay, and I'm not pulling any. All right. And none. All right, since I wrote those down, I will make the motion. I move that we approve consent agenda items A, B, C, D, E, F, H, I, J, K, M.
Not I. Not I. That was pulled.
I was
No.
pulled?
I didn't hear anybody pull
Did you
I.
pull I?
Me?
No, Laura.
No, I
Did I
pulled,
mishear it?
no,
I heard G and L.
G and L.
Okay.
Mark the wrong one, my
No,
apologies.
All right, no
Just wanna
worries.
Make sure we get things right.
No, I'm gonna read it one more time then, because we do want to, I don't want to make Betty's life harder later. So I move to approve the following consent items: A, B, C, D, E, F, H, I, J, K, M.
Okay.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion by Ms. Ryan, second by Mrs. Potteet. And we will proceed to vote. All right, motion passes 7-0. All right, we will go back to G. Ms. Stanford, that one's yours.
So this is on library titles being added, and I did go through the whole list, just to check the titles and just to see if anything flagged. It did not. I do want to know how parents are notified that new titles are up for review, because they only have 30 days, right? And I'm always caught off guard a little bit. It must be notified on the website somewhere, or how do we know?
Dr. Gosh?
So we keep a running list of all of the titles on the district library website. When we initially published them at the start of the year, we included it in the family newsletter. So we do include it in some of those publications, but it remains, every list that we have, even the ones you approve, still remain on the website. And we update it regularly. So we can certainly add additional notifications or work with communications to put out more information, but.
Well, I'm just wondering if you're feeling that parents are aware. Do you hear from anybody?
We have not. To date, we have not had anyone. We actually have, there's a form online that people can fill out if they, have a question about a book or want to contest a book or anything, and we have not had anyone comment on any of the lists thus far, and have had received no feedback from that,
Okay.
from any of the lists that we've published this year.
Well, I would just ask Dr. J if there's any way to verify that we are making sure people are aware, because I don't know if they are or are not.
Yes, ma'am.
Just to make sure that parents, because they're busy and they don't probably go to our website every day. Maybe some do. Anyway,
And I don't think the law, we don't have a push notification requirement in the law, right? We just have to have it published to our website under the new, what are
That
the
is
new library
correct.
rules? Okay.
Under the rule of law, we just have to have it published on the website and make it available for individuals to review the listing that is there, and we keep the ability for anyone to protest any of the titles at any time, and we have the access for them to be able to do that. And so we did publish initially, when we started publishing these at the beginning of the year, into the family newsletters to let folks know that those are available, and then we also include it here in our board book, the information that
And
is
if I'm
available.
a parent and I'm interested, I can probably Google Judson Library, and it's
Absolutely.
probably going to be one of my top 2 or 3 pages that pull up, right?
Correct, Judson
Okay.
Library List, yes.
And then I'll be able to find it, okay.
yeah, I'd just like to be sure that we're offering all ways of making parents aware.
Yes,
I mean, and
ma'am.
it sounds like we're following the law.
We are, and we can work with communications to see what else we can do
Yeah.
to notify our families.
Okay, I'd appreciate that. Thank you. So that's all I had on that.
Did anyone else have questions on G? Ms. Stanford, did you want to make
Yes,
the motion?
ma'am.
Okay.
So I move that we approve the purchase of library materials to be added to the Judson ISD library collection.
Second.
Okay, motion by Ms. Stanford, second by Ms. Canoyer. And we'll proceed to vote. Okay, and that motion passes 7-0. All right, we will move on to L. That is also you, Ms. Stanford.
So just going through this report, on page 5, it was mentioned that special education and tag students those numbers have both increased, and I just wondered if we had how much they've increased by. I'm curious about the
I was going to say, it's on the TAPER report if that's helpful, but I just don't have that in front of me.
Right. I can get that information and send it in the Friday notes tomorrow. I don't want to quote a number that is not correct, but I can tell you that our special ed numbers are almost at 5,000,
Wow.
which is a significant increase.
Is that coming from more students coming to our district or current students being classed, being?
It's a little bit of both. You have, we're getting more students in. We have a very mobile district, so we'll get students in all year long. The other part of that is that we're having a lot of students that are being identified in Child Find, which is early identification, like at 3 years old, that we're seeing our ECSC numbers go up. And once you're identified, it's continuing to provide services for the students as long as they qualify for special ed. I would have to get the tag numbers from Devin Holmes. As far as the tag numbers are concerned, I know we have made a concerted effort to identify more students for GT across the district, especially at the elementary level, because once they get into secondary, it's kind of difficult to do it, even though we do continue to identify in secondary also.
We've been studying the data because what we're looking at is how we're going to staff our schools.
Yeah.
And we want to staff them equitably. And if you looked at 2019 to 2024, we had an additional 1,090 special ed students throughout that time. And then between 2024 and now, we're on the verge of 5,000 special ed students.
Wow.
And so if you look at our population, it's, almost a quarter, or 1/5 of our population is our special ed students. And so we really, as we're marketing and also staffing our schools, we need to staff them accordingly to support that population and that increase of special ed students.
And they're hard to find, sped
Yes.
teachers, and they have to be certified in a certain, wow. I'm curious, because we keep talking about losing population, our student population going down, but this sounds like it's going the other way. I'm just wondering if there's an offset there.
Well, we're wondering that too. And what we're looking at is how we're going to be able to support the students
Yes.
in our classrooms and also our staff with that. And we cannot rely just on contracted services. So we're looking, and we'll be bringing some forward in our
Okay.
future board meetings to the board as we work on the budget on how we can do some innovative ways to redesign our special ed department
Yeah.
and provide different kind of services.
Okay, that sounds like a big task. And along with that, on page 6, page 6, we have a problem statement that Judson is struggling to identify and implement services for our special ed students. And the root cause is stated as many of the programs used for identification require personnel to sort through hundreds, if not thousands, of documents to look for specific indicators rather than an automated system. Can we look at getting something automated? I don't know if that would be purchasing a program. And I know, Dr. Gosh, you said no special things, but don't add anything.
So I don't necessarily want to speak for special education, but I can tell you that I do know, based on working with special ed for a long time, that the diagnostic testing is not something that you can just put into a computerized program. In fact, I'm not even aware of one that exists that can deliver those protocols, but I'll let Dr. Toppin speak more directly to that.
You're absolutely correct. Most of the assessment and the diagnosis are handled by individuals who are certified, not only certified, they are licensed to handle that. We're having a whole conversation today about LSSPs and why do we have so many, and we still have to contract out because it takes an individual to administer those assessments and then write the report that will indicate what are the child's needs and what not. And I do not know, I have a special ed child myself. I don't think I've ever had any of his diagnosis come from an automated report. It's always been with a psychologist, a psychiatrist, or someone in a specialized field that has to meet my child and do that. And that's pretty much where we are right now as far as identifying students. It takes a human being to administer the test and whatnot. Now, there are paper tasks that are given to parents, that are given to school teachers to identify some of the things that a child may need. but when it comes to the actual assessment and writing the reports that are used to determine what type of services a child has, that is coming from a licensed professional that has to do that, which is why the entire assessment portion for identifying kids and their needs takes such a significant amount of time, and why the state gives you that time, because that you need that time to do the tests, but also to write the reports that are going to guide the individualized plans that are made for students that receive services.
Now, before I get a whole lot of calls from software developers, there are AI products out there that are available that you can, after completing the assessments, as the human, put the data in there, and it helps you craft the final document. But I don't know how much that really changes the assessment process in terms of the amount of time and what they all have to look at. So there are things that can help, but in terms of something that really condenses the amount of work. But that is definitely something we can look at in the future going forward if there are things that can help with this, but there is not a magic program that does this. It really does require
A lot
people.
of manual, just
a lot
hands-on.
of manual, hands-on,
Yes.
and observation. Yes, ma'am.
And can I make a comment on that? My understanding is this problem statement is not specifically special education. This
No,
is
it's all
identifying
programs.
every
It's all of
label
that.
of every student. So to identify a student as military connected, then we have to have a federal form. That's a whole federal form. We don't have any control over that form. Then to figure out if they are emergent bilingual qualified, then we have to have a home language survey, which is another piece of paper that they have to fill out, and you have to hope that the families fill it out and turn it in. So to code people in the program, so we get, because this affects funding significantly.
Yes,
Like,
it
this
does.
is the importance of Snapshot, big importance of Snapshot. We have to go through the free and reduced lunch. Or you're in SES school, you got to fill out the income worksheet. Like, there's so many things that have to manually be put in and a lot of that's outside of our control. And so, like, staffing our offices and our campuses, I think we have to keep that in mind, that a lot of that has to be manual data entry input, so we are sure we're getting the money for all the kids, and then all those kids are put into whatever services that they need, whether it's military, special ed, or what that is. So I think it's a bigger challenge that we have than just special education. In fact, those kids probably get coded because they have to get coded. Like, they're not special ed kids are getting coded. We don't have a
But-
huge issue with that, but an emergent bilingual student might not. I know Lilo's
But we
running
do
around the
spend-
district trying to find, kids, and make sure that they are getting enrolled all the time into that program.
When we do spend a significant amount of time finding kids all year long, especially leading up to Snapshot. A lot of it is dependent on what we get from parents and what paperwork is turned back in. So there's a lot of manpower that is used calling houses directly and trying to get someone on the phone, even with filling out the form for them while we're on the phone with them to make sure everything is put in and whatnot. So there's still that huge human element to a lot of the ways that we identify our students that need extra support in the district.
Sorry, thanks for letting me jump in, Laura. Back to you.
Yeah, so are there any aspects of, we've got a problem stated and a cause for the problem. Are there any aspects of that problem, things that we could find something to make it easier on us? And you don't have to have an answer right now, but I'm just asking, since we've identified a problem here.
Well, we definitely know that this is a concern, and we definitely know that we have to streamline our support services in order to provide that support our students need. And so as we're meeting right now as a group about staffing, and when we bring that forward on the budget, I think we'll have some better ideas
Okay.
on how we can support that.
Good, okay. And on page 8, we've got problem statements identifying student learning needs. We have 5 problems listed, and most of them have the same root cause. So I just wanted clarity on the root cause, which is Tier 1 instruction needs to be implemented with fidelity throughout the district. So how are we, could someone define the fidelity and how we're missing the fidelity?
The Tier 1 instruction continues to come up in our conversation.
Yes.
Okay, and Dr. Saunders, would you like to
Yes, sir,
elaborate?
absolutely.
So, Ms. Stanford, you probably remember when we did our BOY screener data, we talked about like next steps. And one of the things that we said was BOY to MOY, we were really putting an emphasis on our classroom observations, evaluating that Tier 1 instruction. So Tier 1 instruction is at the level, the grade level of the standard, the TEKS, and making sure that we deliver our strongest teach at that Tier 1 instruction, meaning that's for every single child in the classroom. And then Tier 2 and Tier 3 comes after that as an intervention. So we really did our due diligence from BOY to MOY when we did our walks, not only with Region 20, but with TEA as well, really focusing in on what is the standard of that lesson, what is the TEK asking the students to do, and does the work in the classroom meet what the standard is asking? That is that Tier 1 instruction. The fidelity piece comes in when we're aligning the level of the standard to what the actual delivery of the lesson is in conjunction with the work product, so that all students are getting that initial strong Tier 1 instruction at the level of the standard. What we were doing sometimes, and I've mentioned this before, because as teachers, we want to see all kids successful the first rattle out of the box. So sometimes what was happening was I have a class of 23 children, and I know that 2 of them struggle with 2-digit by 1-digit multiplication. Instead of delivering the lesson at the level of the grade level, I would scaffold down and deliver my lesson here, when the expectation is that all 23 students get that initial teach right here. So we really spent a lot of time talking with academic trainers and coaches, principals, even when we pulled teachers in for professional development sessions, talking about how we can make sure that that is aligned. Then when we got up here in February and talked about our MOY data, remember us saying our fidelity to Tier 1 instruction has paid off, because typically we saw a dip at that MOY. Now, we did see some dips here and there, but not like we've seen historically. We were literally at MOY firing on all cylinders, ready to continue grinding forward. So when we talk about that fidelity to Tier 1 instruction, that's across all content, all grade levels. So it's really just getting that same common language around how we can ensure that those things are aligned.
So do you feel that the academic trainers are a key part in this to help the teachers
Absolutely.
address those weaknesses in each classroom?
What's beautiful about an academic trainer or an academic coach is they're not an evaluator. So when they go in and they coach teachers, it's coaching from the lens of, I want to provide an observation and feedback cycle where there is no evaluation tied to it. So it really is, they really serve as that stopgap between the teacher performance and the evaluation, really giving them an opportunity to refine those teaching practices before we enter into the evaluation cycle. When we talk to our academic leaders, we tell them all the time they have one of the hardest jobs in a school district, because they're walking that line between coaching teachers while still moving instruction forward, and that is a very difficult job. We have gifted academic leaders.
We do. I've
Yes.
gone and visited many and watched
Yes.
them at work, and I'm very impressed by the academic trainers that we have. So kudos to y'all, by the way, because I've watched you work. My next question is on page 14. I'm just going to throw it out there. It looks like we're still heading toward the 10-5-3 goals to 2028, and I just wondered if there was any consideration of maybe looking at those again to maybe increase them. Ms. Ryan, you and I.
Why don't I jump in on that one? So yes, as soon as we get all the scores from this summer, then we will sit down and redo
Okay.
the balanced scorecard.
Okay.
Yep, and reset all the annual progress measures and then the annual goals.
And take a
Yep.
look at that.
Oh, 100%.
Okay,
Yes, we
perfect.
got to see where we're at because we got big dreams.
Okay. Thank you for that. And I see on page 20, we have a goal to, obviously, as we always have been working on this, Mr. Macias, you've been real big on this, to increase our staff retention rates. And we are saying here, they will increase by the end of this year. How's it looking?
We're not going to know till after the 45-day mark. Anyone can, that data, they'll be able to pull together after the 45th day before school starts, because that's the last day people can
Okay,
break
so
their
we
contracts.
don't see a trend yet? Okay.
Yeah, a lot of people wait till June if they're going to leave, because there's no
Okay,
incentive
all
to
right.
do it earlier.
Then we'll take a
So-
look at it then.
But by July, we'll have, maybe July, we can
Okay,
get some initial numbers.
okay. I'll be looking forward to
And if I
that.
could interject on that, just to push back a little bit on that. We were told that there were 77 positions that would potentially need to be cut. And my last conversation with Dr. Jaklich is that no one would be cut. So which means we already know that our attrition numbers look to at least cover that 77 position spread. So we probably have a preliminary number, and I would ask Dr. Jaklich, do we have a forecast of what our retention or attrition rate would look like? Granted, yeah, the final line isn't until July, but I would imagine you have a sense of where we are at the moment.
Well, it's kind of a complicated answer, and the reason is because what we're doing right now is aligning position management back up and putting people that in the past may have not been in the right position code. And so as we do that, that gives us some false data. And so as we work today for about 4.5 hours this morning, going through line by line, being able to figure out where everyone will hold in position management as we move forward with the budget process. We just need a couple more weeks to be able to get that finalized. But when we bring our budget next work session forward, I think we can have some more stable information for you on that.
I appreciate that. Sorry, Ms. Stanford, for
No problem. Page 22, we're talking about, on strategy 2, implementing parent table talks. And I have been to several of them when Monica Garcia did them. A lot of work goes into putting together materials that are beneficial to the parents, but I was disappointed at the low turnout. And you too, Ms. Lee, you've seen that. Even though a lot of work goes into it and really, really good information is presented, I think we might want to look at how we're presenting the material, because parents are obviously having a challenge in getting somewhere like that. So could we consider doing it with Zoom or something like that, where parents, maybe more parents, could take advantage of it? Has that been considered?
Absolutely, we can take a look at everything. Everything we can do to better communicate and reach our families, absolutely.
Maybe we could just try it out and see if we get more attendance, because it's worthwhile.
We will definitely discuss it.
Okay, sounds good. And then my last comment, page 23, this is a communication, which I'm happy to see us working on communication. We really need to improve in communicating with parents, with teachers, with the community. And this says that one idea is to host various committee meetings. And I just want to say, just a comment, that I've heard from quite a few people that attend committee meetings, and there's a sense that they're really not listened to, that they provide feedback. I don't know how to fix that, but I'm just making a note of it, that I've heard from several people that have very religiously gone to committee meetings and come away feeling, I think their mind was already made up. And so that's just a sense that's out there. How we fix that, I don't know, but I wanted to call attention to it. In the interest of communication. And that's all I had.
Okay, any other questions on L? All right, Ms. Stanford, could I have a motion?
Yep. So I move that we approve the district improvement plan for the 25-26 school year.
Do I have a second? Okay, motion by Ms. Stanford, second by Ms. Lee, and we'll proceed to vote. Oh, Ms. Stanford, one more time, hit your button. And bang it on the, okay, there we go. Motion passes 7-0, thank you. All right, then 5N, Mrs. Jones, that's yours.
I just wanted to see if we could have the administration explain that to the public so they understand what we're requesting from TEA.
Absolutely. Dr. Gosh?
Absolutely, I'd be happy to explain it. So whenever we have dips in attendance for a particular day due to certain criteria. It has to be an event, it has to be an emergency, it has to be due to weather, things like that. Anytime our daily attendance drops below 10% of what our normal attendance would be for funding, TEA says something has happened and we can apply for a waiver, which would allow us to kind of excuse that day for funding. It doesn't change the absences for students per se, but it allows the district to use the funding based on the number of students that attended on that day from the prior year versus the number of students that actually attended on that one particular day. So this is a request to ask TEA to allow us the exception because we did have a weather event here in San Antonio on May the 1st. And so I know Cibolo and some of our neighbors actually delayed school and some closed school for the entire day due to flooding. And so we did have some families that didn't come and our attendance dropped to 79.43% that day. And typically our annual attendance and daily attendance is around 92, 93%. So by applying for this, it allows us to keep normal funding for that day instead of having our funding pulled from us based on a low attendance day.
Okay, any other questions on that one? All right, Mrs. Jones, would you mind making the motion, please?
I move that we approve the submission of low attendance day waiver for Judson ISD to the Texas Education Agency.
Second?
All right, motion by Mrs. Jones, second by Ms. Stanford. And we will proceed to vote. Okay, there we go. All right, motion passes 7-0. All right, and that wraps up our consent agenda. We will move on to our discussion consideration of action items. So we have, first one is budget amendments for 2026. Dr. Day, did you want to say a couple words on that one?
Well, yes, Ms. Martinez, she has been sitting there just chomping at the bit to jump in. So we're going to let her share this information.
Yes, thank you, sir. Good evening, Madam President, board members, and Dr. J. We have this on our discussion because we have one area on the second page in our budget amendment that has the breakdown in detail of every amendment we're doing in there that's going to affect the general fund balance and impact the fund balance. And if you recall, Brown & Brown did our projection for our run out of claims for last year. They projected back in December that would be about $9 million. So in December, we brought to y'all half of that to take out a fund balance to cover that. Well, instead of us bringing back the 4.5 million, the other half, as claims are going through and negotiations are happening, it has decreased to 2.5 million. So we are asking if we can take that out of fund balance to cover the remaining of the year. At the end of December will be the run out end date.
All right, questions from my colleagues on the budget amendments?
I would just say it's always good to see costs going down.
Yes.
So,
Yes, and
good news.
you know, they're still in negotiation, so we're hoping that we'll use less of that. I anticipated.
Yeah, and maybe some stop-loss payments might come in
Yes.
too, and that might help offset.
Yeah,
so.
we have a couple more
Pending. Okay.
small amounts, yeah.
Okay. All right, if there's no more questions, can I get a motion on 6A?
I move that we approve the budget amendments to the budget for the 2026 fiscal year.
Second?
Okay, motion by Ms. Canoyer, second by Ms. Stanford. And we'll proceed to vote. All right, motion passes 7-0. All right, then we'll move on to 6B, purchase of metal detectors. Dr. J?
Yes, ma'am. This came from also conversation from our safety committee, which we were really happy to hear how our safety committee is moving forward to try to protect us at large events. And so I'll let Dr. Gosh continue with this conversation.
Thank you. About a year ago, the District Safety and Security Committee started looking at the idea of purchasing metal detectors, utilizing some of our safety and security grant funds. We wanted to look at ways in which we could increase security and help out at many of our large events, mainly events that we have at Rutledge Stadium, football games, large track meets, things like that. But we also wanted to look at what options were available through that process so that we weren't basically putting in a permanent structure or putting in things that, really kind of made our facilities look a little daunting. And so the safety and security team developed a evaluation group, and they looked at all the various types of metal detectors that were available and began pricing them. I know earlier this year we had an incident at Rutledge Stadium that, thanks to our fantastic officers and our security teams and our administrators and everyone that was there, the situation was handled. However, it brought it back to the table of, this is something that is important to the safety of our community, and we want to begin looking at this. And through the SAFE grant, we do have funds available. And so the Safety and Security Committee has recommended that we purchase 4 units. This would provide 3 units on the home side at Rutledge Stadium and 1 unit on the visitor side. These units run through about 2,300 people an hour. And so you can process people very quickly, and we wanted to bring this forward so we could start educating the community about it. These are units that are portable, so if we were to have a large event, say at Veterans High School or Wagner High School, we could move it and host it at one of those events if we needed to. However, it's not something that we are looking at using on a daily basis or installing on our campuses or anywhere like that. But we are looking to use it for those larger events. And so the district, through the SAFE grant, will cover the majority of all of the costs with about $83,000, and then the district will purchase 1 unit at the cost of $23,000. We're getting 4. We're getting 4 units, yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay.
We're getting 4 units. The SAFE
Right.
grant is covering
They're gonna
3 of
split the
them.
funding of them.
And local
We're
funding
splitting the
will pay
funding.
for
Got it.
1. Yes, ma'am.
Got it, okay.
Yeah, I think I want to say thanks to our safety and security personnel who went out and actually saw these things in motion. Because
Yes.
these things, all these different models exist somewhere in the greater San Antonio area, and being able to kind of see them in action and see what seemed to work well. I appreciate y'all traveling to take a look at those. And I know I'd asked not to put this on consent because I know, like, when it hit the agenda for Safety and Security Committee, parents are like, oh, there's metal detectors going into the high schools, right? So I'm like, no, let's have a conversation about it, that yes, we are looking to get some, but we are looking to use them at our special facilities or for specialized events. We're not looking at doing those on our campuses on a daily basis. So I appreciate that we're having this conversation. And then we will need a district policy on that for the board.
That is correct.
So if maybe in June, we could do a first reading of that, and we can get some model policies on this from TASB. We can discuss at June with a first reading, and then pass it by July, because then events will start happening by August, at the stadium and everything with football and other things. So if we could add that to the June and July agendas, I'd appreciate that. Ms. Canoyer.
Thank you. I've been a member of the Safety Committee since its institution, and I want to definitely thank Mr. Garcia and also Chief Ramon for their due diligence and making sure that we look at the best options, find the best things to go forward. They're always looking out for our students, always looking out for our staff, and making sure that we are providing the best opportunities for our kids to be successful and safe at schools. For those of you who don't know about the Safety Committee, it involves also many of our municipalities, fire, police, lots and lots of people. The I Love You Guys Foundation, which is our standard response protocol, has a person who's also on the committee as well. So we're doing lots of really good work there, and I want to thank everybody on the committee for their help. Thank you.
Okay, any other, go ahead, Mr. Macias.
I keep thinking long-term here. Naturally, how long are these supposed to last, these metal detectors? Is there a 10-year lifespan, 5 years? Are we going to have to purchase them again in a few years? What does that typically look like?
I think I would have to defer to Mr. Garcia to answer the specific question about the units. It is my understanding Northeast ISD uses these as well. They do come with batteries and replaceable batteries, and they're relatively easy to move around, and so I don't believe you would have to replace the units, but I think Mr. Garcia can share a little bit more information.
Good question, sir. They're going to last probably about 10 years, and the better we take care of them, the longer they will last.
Well, and obviously, when we think long-range planning, if we have to get a deal now, right, we're buying just one, but if we have to buy 4 of them next time, just what does that need to look like? And where do we maybe target grants or a continuance of that so that we can support the purchase of this in 10 years? I think a lot of times we lose sight that we need to repurchase things, and all of a sudden we have a budget amendment for, a lot of money. So that's helpful, and thank you.
Yes, sir.
And obviously, we'll have to put a plan in place, because who knows where we'll be in 10 years.
Yes,
but
sir.
certainly have sort of that thing that I think Mr. Brooks and I've requested what the life cycle is for a lot of our equipment or HVAC and so on, so that there has to be a plan, and we just need to add that to that plan. But I do want to say on the record that I think this is a great idea. I certainly support this, but it does make me think of other institutions across Texas or even nationally that may be using them in their high schools or their middle schools, and how are they quantifying it? Is there incidents? Because obviously we've had situations. So at some point, for the safety of our children and our staff, we may need to look at that in the future. But I do believe everything can be data-driven, which means what is going to be that indicator before something were to happen. So just keep that in mind too, because I think even Ms. Ryan mentioned the idea that we probably need to look at that as another future option for us. But
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, any additional questions?
Thank you.
All right, can I get a motion on 6B?
I move that we approve the purchase of metal detectors as discussed.
Second.
Okay, motion by Ms. Canoyer, second by Mr. Macias. And go ahead and vote. All right, motion passes 7-0. All right, we'll move on to discussion items and reports. All right, first one, 7A, that is yours, Mr. Macias. I will turn it over to you unless I'll let you and Dr. J work that out.
Yes, and not too elongated. I put this out here, Dr. Jaklich, and obviously we had a minute to talk a little bit about what my request entailed. DOIs, I think I remember you saying secondary DOIs are, if necessary, will stay in the district, but our elementary DOIs, it depends on where they are. They have so many years to complete their certification. Am I correct in saying that? Just
Yes, I'd like to bring Ms. Garza, and then we also have Dr. Duhart-Toppin,
Okay.
because as we're looking at staffing, we're also looking at our DOI teachers and the progress they're making, and we're hiring our DOI teachers as they receive their certification. And Ms. Garza, you want to elaborate on that?
Yes, sir. So TEA required, yes, sir, you are correct in that. TEA was requiring for all reading and math teachers for K through 5 to be certified by August 2026, and then secondary by August 2027. But I don't know if you recall it, back in February, we did ask for a delay of certification from the board to approve. You approved it, and then we had to submit that to TEA, and TEA approved that. So we are able to keep some elementary, thank you, board, we are able to keep some elementary DOI. Now, by saying some, what we're doing through attrition, and this is something that we actually do every year. We look at the progress of all of our DOI teachers. We look at progress, attendance, performance, and principal recommendation. And from the HR part, usually we don't allow DOI teachers to go past 4 years because it takes 2 to 3 years to get certified through the programs. Now with the new TEA requirements, programs are actually shortening the time that they get certified in. And so any DOI teacher that was with us for 4 years, we did unfortunately have to exit them. And then if they pass, we really encourage them to come back and reapply with us. And then teachers in year 1, 2, and 3, we really looked at their progress certification progress and if they are passing their exams. And then, like I said, teacher recommendation, principal recommendation and how they're performing at the campus.
And I do recall, too, when we had to consolidate the campuses,
Yes.
we had targeted some of our DOIs at some of these campuses that probably wouldn't come back. And that was my impression. So I'm glad to see that we are going to live to what we talked about in February, to retain DOIs as especially our talented ones who are doing the work. But the other thing that I've been hearing out is that not all DOIs have been given an indication if they're going to be employed with the district next year. So where are we in terms of being able to give some sort of pathway for them? Have we not talked with all of them to date, or have all of them received word that they're coming back next year, or?
We're about 95% there right now. This week, this year, it took a little bit longer with closing of the 4 campuses and reassigning, and so our usual timeline for notifying DOI took a little bit longer because they were, unfortunately, we had the certified teachers we had to take care of first. And then we have, although some people think they're DOI, but they're not really, the ones with our intern certification, they have a 1-year certification, and that means they just need 1 more test before they become official. So then they were the second pot of people that we were looking at, and then the last were the DOI. So we've already notified all of the DOI teachers that are on year 3 and year 4. And then the last ones we've got is 1 and 2. But we have sent out the contracts for the DOI teachers that are returning. So we just have about 5% more to wrap up, and we'll be wrapping them up next week.
And just on a side note, does that also include paras that haven't been told they're coming back or not from the consolidation? Or have
All of
they
the
been?
we have found positions for all paraprofessionals, except I believe it's just 4 positions because they're on that very special pay grade. They will have a job. And as I mentioned earlier, so you know how it is, we get rumors of people resigning in special situations or people that are planning on leaving, but we can't officially offer any spots. So as vacancies keep opening up, then that opens up opportunities for us to place people.
Well, thank you. I know that was not part of this agenda, but it just crossed my mind to ask. So just to wrap it up on the DOIs, we have till 2027 to kind of make that work, but it looks like the future is going to be certified teachers and not DOIs.
Yes, sir.
Okay. But we got the time. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm fine. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Let me see if there are any other questions from my colleagues. Okay, all right, not seeing any. We will move on to 7B. Let's see, that's my agenda item. This is an agenda item I had on last year, this time, and I want to bring it back this year because for this current school year, we started a new model where students were taking 2 math classes. Many students were going to take 2 math and 2 English classes. Some parents may know it as MTSS. And every time we apply, scientific method, every time we apply a new treatment to a student, we want to measure whether or not the students saw gains. Is the treatment working? Is it the right treatment? And middle school is an area of very high concern, especially considering where our academic ratings are and our status with TEA in regards to middle schools. And when I'm looking at the MOI data for our 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, especially in math, the MOI data showed we went down in math. So if students are taking twice as many minutes, and we have academic trainers, and we have all of these things, but we're not seeing improvement in the number of kids that are in the approaches category in middle school math, do we continue doing the same things? Or at what point do we look at what other options there may be in order to improve those scores? Because I guess I'm kind of looking for some evidence that this is working and that this is a good reason to kind of continue that. I'll just kind of leave it at that. I know we've talked a couple of times, and we talked at agenda review, and I've sent a couple of emails about it, so I'll just kind of let you guys know, let me know what your thoughts are, because I know what the data is saying, so I kind of need a better explanation than that.
All right, Madam President and Dr. J and our board members. So one of the things that we really have been paying attention to is our middle school data. It's one of those areas that we have been watching very closely because that is the area, the level that most of our students had saw the greatest impact from COVID, and the fact that kids did not get foundational education in a school setting. They were sitting at home and getting it through the online services that we were offering at the time during COVID. And so one of the things that we decided to do is that we could continue to do what we call the RTI classes, was the response to intervention classes, where we had one teacher that only taught 6 sessions or 7 sessions, depending on the number of sessions that each teacher had gotten. And we had only one teacher teaching that, and that was called an RTI teacher. And then we came back to the board and we said, okay, this is not working because we're not able to get every kid into RTI, to get the response to intervention, and also to make sure that we were accelerating the instruction for all kids that needed it. So one of the things that we decided, because we came to the board first and asked for the board to give us additional RTI teachers. That didn't work. And so we came back to the board and said, can we move those RTI teachers up and make it 3 teachers in that grade level? And then so every teacher had the regular gen ed class for reading or for math, and then they also got the MTSS period also. And then the kids that needed to rotate back into the MTSS period could get that second stab at math or second stab at reading if they needed it. We were going to rotate all kids because even though we had numbers of kids that were getting to approaches is still below grade level. So that means that the kids still had gaps, even if they were scoring and passing, but they were passing at below grade level for approaches. And so after we went through that, we came back to the board. The board expressed some concerns, and we listened to the board, and so we came back with the whole thing that you could opt in if you were at meets and masters, or you can opt out if you were at did not meets or low approaches, and your parents can take you out of the class. So we did have some parents that took that route. We are planning on using that same approach for this upcoming year, doing the opt-in and the opt-out session for MTSS, but I am extremely concerned about removing something when we don't have data, all of our data yet. We just finished EOY last week. Even though preliminary counts, it looks like in math that we did see gains in our math that we did not see at MOY. And so I want to continue to crunch that numbers. We've been doing that all week. In between everything else, trying to crunch those numbers and getting the final numbers on the EOY, because what we're looking for, because EOY looks at achievement and in growth, and we're looking at if you were here at BOY, where are you now as a student at EOY? So we're looking at those students and seeing if they moved. I know that some of your questions, Ms. Ryan, had to do with whether or not we can tell whether or not which kids had a year of growth. That's the numbers, that's the information that we're crunching right now. It's not as easy as just running a report. We have to look at kids where you were and then where you ended up at the end of the year. And that has to be done. If we're looking at a grade level, that has to be all 5th grade, all 6th grade, all 7th grade. And so we are interested in looking at that because one of the things that MAP measures is achievement and growth over a year, where the interim assessment that we have from the state is not what we call a true measurement of where a student is and where a student is going to end up being. Because all the times that we have looked at the interim assessment data, it is showing that it's not falling in alignment with where our data is coming in from MAP. In fact, it's been off from what we have seen with MAP, and it's because they're testing 2 different things. They're both testing TEKS, but the MAP data is testing the TEKS about where the kids should be right now in their assessment, in their learning right now, whereas the interim assessment is throwing TEKS in there that kids haven't even been taught yet. And so when you pull that data, you got to go back and look at it even more. So that's why we use the interim assessment, the interim STAR assessment. We use that to inform our teaching practice, inform our instruction. Because if we're looking at a TEK that we haven't taught yet, but we're going to get to it, we need to know exactly how we're going to have to come at it. Because if a kid is already showing, if our students are already showing that they're already struggling with that area, we're going to have to do a little bit more scaffolding than we've been doing before. Whereas in our interim, our map data is where the kids are right now based on where they are in the scope and sequence of what we're teaching. And most of the time, those teaks are aligned to where we are in our teaching at that particular point. And we use that data to say, is that kid grasping? Or is this a kid we're going to have to put in more support because they're not showing, even after they've been taught this, they're still showing gaps. And those gaps are going to come into play and cause the students to not perform or progress the way we need them to progress to get to STAR and perform where we need them to perform for STAR. So interim assessment, STAR assessment, map are measuring two different things, if that makes sense. And so what we want, we have to use both pieces because a teacher has to use the data that we get from our interim STAR assessment to inform how they need to teach that TEAC when they get to it. Our students, we need to measure, are they growing the way they need to grow? Or is this kid that we need to try to do something else to make sure we try to fill those gaps in an accelerated pace so they can be where we need them to be at the end of the year when they take the STAR assessment?
Go ahead, I have a couple more questions.
Okay,
but go ahead.
yes. Well, one of the things I also want to add is we are really working hard on crunching the numbers, and we plan on bringing that presentation in the June board meeting to the board. And we understand the board's responsibility is also to look, monitor, and see the progress that we make in academics. That's extremely important. We had a lot of other things on our plate this year that may have turned us away from that, and we need to focus and come back to that. And we're committed to bringing that information to the board on a monthly basis to continue to keep you updated every meeting so we can show our progress and we can have discussions about what we're doing.
Yeah, because that's my concern is we're making a lot of decisions right now from a staffing standpoint, from a master schedule standpoint, and everything else for what's going to be next fall. And the reality is, next fall is year 5 on 2 of our middle schools, right? They're probably not pulling up to a C this year, and that's okay. I didn't ask you to pull it up to a C, right? But if those 2 middle schools are not up to a C next year, there's going to be 7 new people sitting on this dais, because TEA will be here. So decisions now are already going to be in effect for what will be 2 year 5 campuses at the middle school level. So, and again, I agree, we've all been a little distracted from academics, which is why I want to start, you'll start seeing most agenda items from me, or we need to get back to student outcomes and monitoring what we're doing, because, you know, I've reached out to my network and other districts are not doing this. Other districts don't have 2 hours of English and 2 hours of math. It is not common. There's no districts around here that are doing that. And so what other options did we explore? Was there an A or a B option? We could do this, or what are the other districts doing that are, you know, outperforming us or are turning around their struggling campuses at the middle school level? Were there other options explored for next year?
The option that we ended up coming to, if I may, Dr. J, this option that we came to was because we were talking to TEA and we were talking to Region 20. They were already in our house because of the turnaround plan. And so this option that we brought to them was something that they supported because they said, we are past the point of doing what we've always done. What they wanted was a bold move. And this is bolder than even I would have even thought of at 2 years ago, is to put something in, to put accelerated instruction into the school day. And it wasn't come to lightly because we were tracking the fact that our students could not stay after school for accelerated instruction. They couldn't come before school for and I'm just talking about middle school right now. We don't have that problem at the high school level, but kids that have to depend on someone to bring them to school or to take them away from school. And even though we were running buses in the afternoon and spending money to have a bus come pick up kids and deliver them all to their nearest area and whatnot, we were not seeing students staying for the accelerated instruction. So we had the RTI, we were not getting all the kids that we needed to run through there. We were doing before school, after school, and Saturday school, not getting any results. We were not moving the needle. And so the question that was put to us in our meeting with TEA when we started the turnaround plans was like, what are you gonna do different in middle school? Because that is where your numbers are bringing everything down. You need to do something different. What are you going to do differently? What is your problem? So it's almost like when we do the district improvement plan, we do a needs assessment and we determine like, what is the root cause? What is causing us not to get to our goal?
Well, I guess we'll have the data soon. Tomorrow, we will have those 8th grade EOC,
Just algebra 1 and biology.
We will have that data.
And high
Next
school.
Friday, we're going to have all our prelim data.
Yes.
So I
We're
can't wait
eagerly awaiting it.
to see that because we will have a follow-up conversation, Dr. J, as soon as that data comes out, because if there needs to be some sort of redirection for next year, now is kind of the time, because we're running out of string on this. So, Ms. Stanford, go ahead.
So we've been doing this for 1 year?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Is that a little premature to determine?
Everything that we've done, even with our turnaround plans, TEA has told us that the turnaround plan is a 2-year plan. So whatever we're doing at Kirby and at Metzger Middle School, it's 2 years. They're giving us 2 years to try to turn it around. And so research says that if you're going to implement a change that is this bold, you have to give it anywhere from 2 to 3 years to see whether or not it's going to work.
And that's my understanding of almost anything new you bring in, curriculum, almost anything new, you typically give it 2 to 3 years, right? Isn't that what we typically do?
Yeah, but double math, I guess I don't understand. I get that on a new curriculum, but if I'm getting 2 hours of math class every day and my score goes down, like that doesn't take 3 years of getting 2 hours a day for a kid to see some progress, right? So when the MOI goes down 3%, I don't expect it to go down at all, because this kid got 2 hours of math. All these kids, most of these kids sat in 2 hours of math class. They weren't in Principles of Ag, they weren't in a CTE path, they weren't in Spanish, they weren't in other things, they were in math. And so I guess I don't understand the concept about how that would take 3 years to actually see some sort of score improvement, but.
Well, excuse me, Ms. Ryan, or 2, right? So TEA wanted us to do 2?
The turnaround plans are for 2 years, yes.
Okay.
We had to
So-
write a plan for year 1 and year 2 to get out of the turnaround plan.
So what is y'all's comfort level?
My comfort
what is-
level is year 1. We firmly believe that we do everything to come out at the end of the year. However, we also recognize the differences in the challenges that we've had at these 2 campuses and what we have to do, because in addition to everything else, we've had turnover. All of those things play a factor into whether or not the Tier 1 instruction is where we need it to be. And so we're shooting, we've looked at everything and we're predicting numbers and where we think we're going to end up at. I am eagerly waiting for the 2 weeks for the 3 through 8 scores to come in, because that is what is either what we're doing or working. But I can tell you the preliminary numbers that we have crunched for math shows that we did make gains.
Okay.
And so that we are possibly moving in the direction that we need to move in for where we need our kids to be. But the other thing is that we have to sit down and look at everything. Everything is not in the same sequence and cadence that we've always had. We are just now getting to master schedules. So when I hear that you've already made decisions about 26, 27, we have not, because we're not even done with master schedule yet. So we're still talking about some things because we haven't gotten, we just now this week started entering course requests. So we don't know the numbers for where we're going to be for the number of kids that are going to have to go into the MTSS class. And so master schedule is about a month, about 2 months behind schedule right now. So we have time to pivot if we need to pivot. But right now, when talking about 2 of our particular campuses, where we need to, and we understand clearly, we've been talking to TEA about Metzger and Kirby for a number of years now. The other thing is that the other 3 campuses, even though they're not performing at the level that Metzger and Kirby are performing at, we are still not at a place where I am comfortable in middle school, which is why I continue to say we cannot take our eye off of academics in middle school because it is causing the bottleneck that we see at high school. It impacts graduation rates.
Is there anything that you would look at that would cause you to say, we need to abandon this program this year? We don't want to do a second year.
It's the data. We look at the data with everything we do. And so we'd have to go back and look at the data. What is the data telling us? Did we make moves? Did kids move? Did this targeted group of kids that we put into this program, this MTSS bold move, did they move the way we thought they were going to move?
So you might decide, based on what you look at, that we might not want to
We
continue?
would definitely have to have a conversation with Dr. J, yes.
Okay.
Could Dr. J jump in?
What I really want to say is two things. One, I'm so glad we're having this conversation because this is what we're supposed to be talking about all the time. How are we going to move the needle forward for our students and academically? Dr. Saunders, Dr. Duhart-Toppin, and myself, we have spent hours looking at how we want to build a structure for our middle schools and support them with the proper staff and what they need in order to be successful. Our decisions are also going to lie in the data, and we're not going to get that data for the next week till we have about another week to go through everything. And once that data comes, that's going to be able to give us a direction, which we call our North Star, in what we're going to do next. And so in the upcoming meetings, you will see what our progress is. You will see what are some of the opportunities and options we have. And then after we have that data, our plan is also to get back to the table with our people from TEA and Region 20 and say, here's what we got. This is what we think. What do you think? What are other people doing? Remember, we want to learn from everybody's successes, not be the experiment. And so that's where we stand in the next couple weeks.
Sorry, did you have some more, Ms. Stanford? Okay, Mr. Macias.
Yes, obviously everything we talk about has an implication on academics. Conversations on consolidation have something to do with academics. DOI retention has something to do with academics, keeping people. So right now, I expect, because we've had these conversations, that the data is going to show that we're going to improve academically. I've kind of told my community, we are going to improve. We're by no far going to stumble this year. So my expectation clearly is that we see progress in those areas. We have smaller middle schools, which again was a strategy we decided to do on this board in December of 2024. Smaller middle schools to reach students, not only in the academic, but the social-emotional level. We still have that up until this year. Next year, it's a whole different story. So there will need to be some focus on what we're going to be doing next year because we're going to have less people. We're going to have more students on middle school campuses. And to me, that concerns me. So I certainly want to see what our strategies are in that area. And I learned long ago, back in 2018, 2019, that getting these numbers up is a challenge, and we're going to have to be innovative. I like the best practices model, Dr. Jaklich, but honestly, I think it takes some innovation. We're going to have to lead in this community. But I'll give you my example. We made an enormous investment in pre-K for all. And when I challenged administration to have higher projections on outcomes, they would not target those higher outcomes. And we were making major investments in pre-K. So I expected in 5 years our third graders would all be at grade level. But because of our high mobility, other factors, there was no way to get to that point. And it was real contentious when we had this discussion. I love Ms. Canoyer, but she gave me a hard time on that one. So we're all thinking about it. And so there is definitely more to the formula. I do believe we need sustainable leadership on campuses, which means not replacing or switching 12 campus leaders. I'm still concerned that we did that. I think we need stability at the superintendency. We need stability at the board. We need stability in your roles because all that matters. And then on top of that, we need experienced teachers in the classroom. All of that has to happen for us to move in a direction to ensure that academic achievement is being met. And so these discussions that we have going forward will all be about those things, making sure we reset and that we are able to win, even though we're having potentially less employees. So I don't expect anything less than us being successful this year, and I look forward to the three of you coming up with ideas on how we're going to move forward with our new staffing, because unfortunately, we're just not being funded appropriately to have the level of staffing that we need. But I believe in both of you. And Dr. Jaklich, your experience should be helpful. So I'm not worried. I think 2 math classes sounds great on paper. There's 2 opportunities to get that reinforcement. Maybe they shouldn't be the same. I don't know, because I'm not, yeah, see, so they're different methods. It should be working, right? So certainly, let's take a look if it's not. But I'm eager to see what that looks like, Dr. Jaklich, in the next few weeks.
All right, I don't see any other buttons pushed, but no, I'm looking forward to a refocus on academics. Y'all got the budget and finance down. We'll wrap that up next month, and this is the new focus and direction, of the board, and lots of questions, lots of performance management. Dr. Gibson's excited to start moving forward on our very routine annual plan, something I think we planned a couple of years ago and never quite got it going, but we're ready to do that now. So this will be part of the conversations that will dominate this boardroom now, and we're going to talk about kids and what we can do for kids and how our kids can do it and how we can help you and how you can help us make this district amazing. All 55.8 square miles, right, sir? Yes. Okay, we are going to move on to board training, conferences, events, committee updates, and board norms. Now, I know y'all been to 200 things this month, right? So why don't you hit the highlights? I'm just kidding. We've been to a lot of ceremonies and a lot of events and a lot of things. We will go up and down the line and let everybody hit the highlights of their last month, and what they have coming up next month. Ms. Canoyer, go ahead.
So I want to highlight a couple of things that the Judson Education Foundation put forward this past month. One of the things was the Para to Teacher scholarships. We have a number of paras who are working on getting their teaching certification, and the foundation was able to award $1,000 scholarships to 10 of those who applied for that, and that was a wonderful, wonderful ceremony to go to, and congratulations to all of them, and we're so grateful that the foundation was able to do that. Then after that, we got to go caravanning from campus to campus, thanking our staff during Teacher Appreciation Week and providing Coke floats or soda floats, because it didn't have to necessarily be Coke. There are a lot of people who wanted that, good old traditional root beer. So we were able to do that and say thank you to all of our staff who work so diligently every day with our students. There is a golf tournament coming up. One of our major fundraisers is coming up on June 9th. So if there's people out there in the audience or anybody who's listening who's interested in that, if you'll reach out to me, I'll make sure you get put in the right place with the right person to get your team together and get you a sponsorship. We'd love to have you support the efforts of the foundation. And then I do want to talk about the Student Health Advisory Council's health fair that was held at Escondido Elementary. The SHAC is doing an amazing job of reaching out to the community and making sure that we're providing opportunities for families to look at what we're doing in terms of keeping our students healthy. And that committee put on an amazing health fair. So if you weren't able to attend, I'm hopeful that that's something that's going to continue for the next several years at least. And that's something we can grow and make bigger and better and more special. So thank you to the SHAC committee, to the council for all their hard work in putting that together and staffing it. And it truly was a great thing to do.
All right, Ms. Stanford.
Can I do the events I went to, and then after everyone's done their events, come back for the ad hoc committee overview? Okay. So went to a lot of things like was mentioned. Into the Woods was a blast. Yes. That was at Veterans Memorial. Really amazing production. The actors, the set, all the musicians, the artists that put the whole thing together was incredible. I also found out, just by chance, that the real neat visual effect at the end were this huge, they have to kill a giant, And how, we don't have anyone that big. So how do you see a giant dying on stage? And this one student came up with the idea of having the head fall just off curtain, so you just see the top of the head. And it's this big boom. And that student not only conceived of that idea, but created the mechanism to make it work. So it was real surprising to see this big thing, this big head, come down from behind the curtain. Amazing. One student did that. Teacher appreciation was fun. Went to France, Crestview, Judson Middle, Kitty Hawk, and everyone was doing something different. You had Willy Wonka at Crestview. You had Wicked at Kitty Hawk. They dressed up. It was an amazing show of appreciation, and it was a pleasure to be a part of it. The athletics dinner, congratulations to all the high achievers. Coach Corrales pointed out that all the kids that won awards were like the top third of their class. So it was really incredible what they did. Rolling Meadows Farewell, that was an incredible timeline you guys put together. It spanned huge length of hallway where every year was documented with pictures. I got a picture of every single year so that I can string it together at some point. It was amazing. Went to the FFA Awards. Those kids are incredible kids. You can always tell an FFA kid because they're so polite. Not that other kids aren't, but these FFA kids have it down. I mean, they shake your hand, they say, ma'am, sir. It's amazing. Many accomplishments from all of the FFA students, and it was a real pleasure to be there. And last today, went very briefly to the Judson Middle School Festival. A lot of kids having fun and amazing work from the PTO, who not had just one or two bouncy balloon places, but a whole bunch of them. They were everywhere, and the kids were all over the place, jumping into those things and having races. And amazing job by the PTO. So I'll stop there.
Mrs. Potteet.
So I've also been hopping around. Unfortunately, for the week of teacher appreciation, and not unfortunately, I also happen to be on their PTO. So I spent the entire week at Crestview where we did Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. It was amazing. I love being there just to see how excited all these teachers get. And it's just satisfying to know that you can see the appreciation from them, even though we're there to honor them. And it's great to bring the community together. So spent the entire week there. It was a lot of fun, and I will probably spend it again next year because my kids are still going to Crestview. I also managed to go to a couple of the kinder graduations because you got to honor the littles because those are the best. They're small and cute, and you just want to snuggle them all. Went to Salinas. I went to Crestview this morning. They did an amazing little number where they sang Moving On to First Grade. I love that song. It's a great song. My kids both sang it, and it brings me to tears almost every single time.
Sing a little.
Oh, yeah, couldn't do that if I tried. And then I also managed to get a few minutes of the art show. Got to see a few quick paintings really quick, and then we had to run and get over to the Circle of Excellence out at Veterans. So I was able to go and hand out some of those awards, so that was fun. And I do know at the beginning of this month, there was one day where we went to 3 different events. Stephanie and I just hopped in a car and just started hopping everywhere. I think we went to the J-STEM lottery, which was so exciting. I think everybody was stunned when they actually recognized that, hey, there is no lottery. Everybody's been accepted. This is amazing. And I'm not sure they quite understood it for a minute. So was able to see that, and that was great. I think after that, we went to a couple of other things. I'll let you speak on that because I honestly can't remember. Kindergarten roundup, and then quick stop off at Veterans for just a minute. It was a long day, and it went really quick because we wanted to hit as many things as we could. Also did the 7th grade Toro Rising this week, where we had a bunch of 7th graders present what we should do with Coronado Village. And every single one of those 7th graders were amazing. Those ideas were amazing. And legitimately, we do need to keep all of those recommendations
under consideration. They had some great ideas. They had it split up within the campus where, yeah, maybe we take all 3 of their ideas and run with it because it was one section here, here, and here. So that was great. And then tomorrow, I'm going to be going to the Crestview 5th grade graduation because I do know a few of those kids moving on up to middle school now. So I will wrap it up there. There were some other things I did, but again, this is a long list.
All right, Mrs. Jones.
I'm going to just touch on some things that nobody else mentioned. We had the retirement dinner. That was amazing. Then attended the Hopkins kindergarten graduation. Also went over to Hartman for their UIL and math awards. And then was able to attend the Masters Elementary School Military Ball, which was the first time doing that, and that was really amazing. And then several other graduations and concerts, but I'm going to just leave it there and let everybody else finish their stuff.
Mrs. Lee.
Thank you. Is it okay? I have a kind of like a little long list.
Talk fast. No, I'm kidding.
I'm sorry, because it's been really a busy
Yeah, hit your highlights.
days.
Hit your highlights.
Okay.
Hit the big things.
The highlight for today, of course, is the elephant walk. For the first time I've experienced it, because even though my eldest went to Wagner, he didn't get the chance, elementary and middle school. So, of course, a lot of tears were there. And it's so nice at Escondido, because even like the staff and teachers, because it's the first time graduates that open up that school. So it's a little emotional because a lot of there's just a few people that are still there since the beginning and seeing them. And then some of the students are just really excited to be back because sometimes I believe some of the students, not like my kids that are in band, sometimes they move, visit other schools in promoting the band. So they get the chance to be back there. But a lot of students, it's like their first time ever again to be back. So they're also emotional, crying. So there's a lot of tears. And then no one has mentioned Olympia musical is my first time last night. And it went really great because I'm a big Disney fan. And I heard that there's that they did Finding Nemo or Aladdin. But last night it was Aristocats. And Miss Amy Hadas shared it to me how some students she doesn't talk much, but then they get to have their perform singing and everything. So it was really nice to watch them. Of course, kinder graduation attended at Salinas and Woodlake. And then one of the highlights, too, that I went was Pashal Elementary, and thank you so much for inviting me, because they celebrated Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month, which I'm completely not really aware of. And so it just, Ms. Davila actually went out, there's one class, and it's kindergarten, which I love because Philippines made it. So they made this, we called it parol, and it's a star lantern every Christmas that we made. So it just brings back memories. So Ms. Davila was pointing at me because I was literally crying because I told her the story and shared it to her that growing up as a family, it's made of wood, and then we gather different papers, colors, or plastics, and then we kind of tie it around that lantern. And this kindergarten made it different colors, stars and stuff, in a paper plate. So all of them are have all those paroles that we called. So thank you for that, because that's really my first time to see it in Judson also. I don't know, because my kids didn't get the chance to do that on their school. And then, of course, art extravaganza is one of I never miss it because of my kids too. And then we went to the circle excellence for the top 10. And it was so nice to like be proud of these kids, of their achievements, and also like the teachers that they picked. And then, of course, there's the Rolling Meadows Farewell Party, and then the PTO. I'm also on the PTO at Metzger, so that week is also kind of like busy for us to like celebrate all these teachers, and we had fun. And even Miss Davis, the principal, one day she made like, it's a dirty soda, but she has like this, she arranged it kind of like a mini bar. And then there's like instructions on what, drinks you want. And like teachers are just like having it and just trying all the flavors. And then of course, the paraprofessional surprise. They told me it's like a surprise party, that because they don't have a clue about the scholarships and grants. So there's a lot of tears also in there because there's like this, paraprofessional shared her story, which is so touching. And then, of course, the first Shack event for the health fair. Thank you so much for that. That was really nice. We're seeing the kids on hand, like wanted to learn, like just checking the blood pressure, and then the CPR as well. And I'll just say the band and everything. I just want to like highlight those where they're doing a great job on all the concerts and giving awards to the students because it's really all the hard work they put, and hopefully, continue that way. And I think that's it. Thank you so much for listening.
Yeah, as you can tell, it's been a blur for all of us for the last 30 days, and a pile of dresses on the floor somewhere that probably all need to be dry cleaned now. What I'll say about all the places we went is just, I think what catches all of us is the amount of effort that our district staff, our principals, our assistant principals, our teachers, our counselors, there were student-led award ceremonies that were driven by the students, the choirs there, the ROTC people are there, everyone is going nonstop. It's Teacher Appreciation Week a couple weeks ago. Every parent and every PTO is going nonstop. So there's a whole next level tired going on in this district right now, but that's okay because that's how much everyone in this organization cares to make every one of these moments as special as they could be. And when you're sitting at a high school thing, high schoolers don't necessarily smile a lot, right? And they're walking across the stage and they get to you and they just smile. And you're like, you know what? They're a kindergartner again. They're just so happy to be recognized. And I think that's what we've seen at every ceremony we've gone to, is the pride and the tears out of the principals and teachers, and then the pride out of those parents taking photos. So all of these efforts, I know you're exhausted when you go home at night, but know that we have seen how impactful those are on everyone and why those things are so important. I'm so proud of all the things we have put on at every single level over the last month. I will say, my one highlight was, I got to shout out to JSTEM because it's just an example of some of the great things we are doing in this district to create real-world learners. We're doing down at Candlewood STEM, we're doing at Wagner T-STEM, right? We're in all these different programs. And so to take a real-world problem like, they use the word abandoned for Coronado a little bit too much, but the repurposing of buildings, these are real-world problems that we face as a district, we're going to face as a school board. And to see these students come up with ideas and so confidently present them and be so proud of what they've done. And I think it's just proof that there are great ideas out there everywhere. And the more we open those communication channels and listen, and we can't give everybody everything they want, but the process of communicating and opening those channels up is what we want. And to hear it from our students was just so inspiring. Kind of doesn't end for us, with when school ends. June is booked full of training already. I know a number of us will be at the TASB Summer Leadership Institute in June here in San Antonio, where we'll get to go through all of our board training. And then I will be finishing up my final leadership TASB session to become a master trustee up in Fort Worth in June. So I'll be at Summer Leadership Institute up there too. That's where I get to present to all the new trustees in the state of Texas on school board finance. So super excited about that because you know that's my jam. And excited for that and excited to, you know, walk across the stage and finish up because that has been a tremendous peer group that will live on forever. And then on my way up to Fort Worth, I'll be heading to the System of Great Schools Summit up in Austin with TEA. Commissioner's going to be at that also. So I'll have a couple opportunities to listen to the commissioner this summer too on what's going on and see what's going on across the state. Because again, we don't necessarily need to be coming up with the new stuff. We need to be finding what everybody else is doing and then perfecting that within our organization and then taking what's going great within our own organization and sort of stovepipes creating these systems. So yeah, it's not gonna stop for us, but for everybody else, for most of you, you got 3.5 days and you got this. You really do, right? And if you are on a schedule where you have off this summer, you just need to schedule some time for you because it's been a challenging year for everybody. There's been a lot of noise and a lot of stuff going on, so you need to take some you time. And for our 226-a-day employees, we got a lot of work to get done this summer, but you also need to schedule your time off too. All right, we're not going to get it all done, so that doesn't mean go find a cruise, go find camping, whatever your jam is. You need to take some time for you too, because this fall, it's a whole new chapter for Judson, and the starting pistol's going to go off, and we're all going to take off running. So everybody take your time, because this has been a well-earned year, and there's some amazing things on the horizon, and I'm super excited. I'm super excited for August. So, okay, I'm going to turn it back over, and Dr. J and I are going to talk about committees and refocus on committees and work with Dr. Gibson. So probably in our July when we go over good governance and all of those types of things.
I need to report.
Yes, no, I'm going to let you report on that, but we're going to be looking at all the committees at district, at board, and the purpose and the compositions and what the missions are of those. What does growth and planning become? What does the finance committee become? So we're going to be working through some of that stuff. So we'll have a board discussion of that at probably a workshop in July to see how we can work together on some of these long strategic plans that we need to get going in the district. So, but we have one ad hoc short-term committee that is working right now on a project. So I'll turn that over to you, Ms. Stanford, to give a little update on that committee.
Yeah, just real briefly, and I did give everyone a report that will bring you up to date with everything that's been discussed and done so far. We've had our third meeting with the ad hoc committee for conflict and bullying. And basically, we're working to assess and address holes in the policy, which might maybe help us tighten up some of our reactions to our ways of addressing conflict, bullying, any kind of behavior that escalates into unsafe environments for kids. We had some committee members that had a booth at the Shack Health Fair, and they talked to a lot of parents there. So if any parents that are listening to this, any teachers, if anyone has some input you'd like to give to us about your experience with the policies and what you've seen, what you think could be addressed, please feel free to reach out to Ms. Jones, Ms. Ryan, or myself, and we will take that into account and fold it into our discussion. So y'all have the report, and that's everything I have on that. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Ms. Stanford. All right. Anything from you, Dr. J, before we head into closed session?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Then the board will now adjourn into closed session pursuant to the following sections of the Texas Open Meetings Act. Pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.074, discussing personnel, the personnel report and updates, including new hires, resignations, and administrative appointments. Pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.071 and 551.076, consultation with attorney and deliberation regarding visitor access and protocol, security devices, or security audits. And pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.074, discussion regarding board member duties, roles, and responsibilities. The time is now 8:09, and we are in closed session. The board will now reconvene in open session. The time is 9:01 PM. No final action, decision, or vote was taken while the board was in closed session. All right, we are going to go on to agenda item number 9. Do I have a motion on 9A?
I move that we approve the personnel report and updates, including new hires, resignations, and administrative appointments, as discussed in closed session.
Second.
Okay, motion by Ms. Canoyer, second by Mrs. Potteet. And we will proceed to vote. Okay, motion passes 7-0. Okay, the next item on our agenda is the election of board officers for the upcoming term. In accordance with board policy and state law, we will conduct elections for the offices of secretary, vice president, and president. Okay, we will now open it's late. We will now open nominations for the office of secretary. Nominations do not require a second. Are there any nominations for secretary?
I would like to nominate Leslie Lee for secretary.
Okay, Leslie Lee has been nominated. Ms. Lee, are you willing to accept the nomination?
Well, thank you so much, Ms. Jones. Yes, I do
Yes.
accept it, yeah.
Okay. All right, are there any further nominations? Hearing no further nominations, nominations are closed. Mrs. Lee is the only nominee for the office of secretary. By acclamation, Mrs. Leslie Lee is elected secretary. We will now open nominations for the office of vice president. Nominations do not require a second. Are there any nominations for vice president? I nominate Mrs. Amanda Potteet for vice president. Mrs. Amanda Potteet, you have been nominated. Are you willing to accept the nomination?
Yes.
Are there further nominations? Hearing no further nominations, nominations are closed. Mrs. Amanda Potteet is the only nominee for the office of vice president. By acclamation, Mrs. Amanda Potteet is elected vice president. We will now open nominations for the office of president. Nominations do not require a second. Are there any nominations?
I nominate Laura Stanford.
And I nominate Ms. Monica Ryan.
Okay. Ms. Laura Stanford, you have been nominated. Ms. Stanford, are you willing to accept the nomination?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And I have been nominated, and I'm willing to accept the nomination. Hold on, I got to flip pages now. Oh, I'm sorry, hold on. Are there any further nominations? Hearing no further nominations, nominations are closed. Okay, we will now vote on the office of the president. Okay, if you would like to vote for Ms. Laura Stanford, please raise your hand, and we will do hand count. 1, 2, and I see 3 votes for Mrs. Stanford. I'm sorry, Ms. Stanford. All right, we will now vote for Monica Ryan. If you are voting for Monica Ryan, please raise your hand. I see 4 votes received for Monica Ryan. That is a majority, so Monica Ryan has been elected president. The newly elected officers will assume positions at our next board meeting. There being no further business, this meeting is adjourned at 9:05 PM.